What if the person you've been silently caring for, day after day, without a word? A broken bar suddenly opens her eyes and remembers her voice. Dr. Arjun had no idea that the woman whose wounds he gently treated for months would one day change his entire life and teach him what true healing really means. The sterile scent of antiseptic filled the quiet hospital ward. Monitors beeped rhythmically, a fragile symphony between life and death. It was past midnight when Dr. Arjun made a walk-in for his nightly rounds. His steps slowed before room 207, at the room where she lay. Mira Khanna, the billionaire businesswoman, once the talk of every news channel, known for her empire, her elegance, and her loneliness. 6 months ago, a car crash had left her in a deep coma. Her family had given up hope, but not Arjun. Every night, he came to check on her, not just as a doctor, but as someone who felt a strange pull toward her silent form. He didn't know why, but her stillness made him ache. She looked peaceful, yet so heartbreakingly lost. He would change her bandages carefully, speaking softly to her as if she could hear. "Good evening, Miss Khanna," he'd whisper. "Your wounds are healing faster than last week. That's a good sign. You're fighting." He never realized his words, gentle and sincere, were becoming the only connection her unconscious mind had to the world. Months passed. Other doctors rotated out. Nurses grew tired of the routine. But Arjun stayed. He'd often bring fresh flowers for her room, play soft piano music, and talk about little things, the weather, his long shifts, how difficult hospital food was. Sometimes, he shared stories about his late mother, who taught him compassion. She used to say, "Healing isn't about medicines alone, a broken bar, it's about love." He smiled faintly, touching Mira's bandaged hand. "You'd have liked her." One rainy night, a sudden power cut swept through the hospital. The emergency lights flickered. Arjun rushed to Mira's room, and her monitors had stopped. Panic surged through him as he checked her vitals. The line was flat. No, a broken bar," he muttered. "Starting CPR. You're not leaving like this. You've fought too long." His voice trembled, tears mixing with sweat. "Wake up, Mira, please." Then, at the faintest movement, her fingers twitched. The monitor beeped again. Her heartbeat returned. Arjun froze. His chest heaved with disbelief. A broken bar? She didn't wake up fully that night, but something changed. Her brain scans showed new activity. Doctors called it a miracle. Arjun called it hope. Weeks later, as Arjun replaced her bandages again, he noticed her eyes flutter. For the first time, her lips parted. "Doctor, a broken bar?" Her voice was weak, fragile as wind. Arjun's hands trembled. "Mira, you're awake?" Tears filled his eyes as he leaned closer. She blinked slowly, confusion clouding her face. "You a broken bar? You were talking to me every night." He froze. "You heard me?" She nodded faintly. "Your voice kept me alive." Recovery was slow but miraculous. Mira had lost some memory, yet she remembered him vividly. As she healed, she began to learn about him as the young doctor who had refused to give up when everyone else did. One afternoon, as sunlight streamed through her window, she smiled softly at him. "You know, Dr. Mete, a broken bar for 6 months. You were the only one who spoke to me like I was still human. Everyone else treated me like a lost cause." He lowered his eyes humbly. "I just did my duty." But Mira shook her head. "No, you did more than that. You gave me life twice, once with your hands, once with your words." When she was finally discharged, the world celebrated the miracle wake-up of Mira Khanna. News reporters swarmed the hospital. Her family offered massive donations in gratitude. Yet through all the noise, Mira looked only for one person, Arjun. She found him sitting quietly under the hospital's old banyan tree, where he often went after shifts to think. She sat beside him, in simple clothes that made her look more human than the glamorous photos once had. "You didn't come to the press conference," she said softly. "I don't belong in your world," he replied with a small smile. "You're a billionaire. I'm just a doctor." She studied him, her eyes warm. "You're wrong. You're the only one who saw me, not the money, not the headlines, just Mira." Silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken emotion. Over the next months, their bond deepened. Mira, once cold and distant, began visiting the hospital regularly, not as a patient, but as a volunteer, she funded free treatment for poor patients and insisted Arjun lead the project. One day, at a small charity event, Arjun watched her speak to a crowd of smiling children. Her voice carried the same strength he had once spoken to in the dark. She turned and caught his gaze, her eyes glistening. Later, she approached him quietly. "You gave me a second life," she said. "Now I want to share it with you." Arjun blinked in disbelief. "Ray, a broken bar." She took his hand gently, not as a patient and doctor, as two people who healed each other. Months later, a new hospital wing opened at the Coma Healing Center. Mira and Arjun stood side by side as the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Cameras flashed, but their smiles weren't for the world, they were for each other. She leaned close and whispered, "Remember the night you begged me to wake up?" He chuckled softly. "I'll never forget it." Her eyes softened. "Neither will I. Because when I opened my eye as a broken bar, the first thing I saw was you."